The realm. Do you know what the realm is? It's the 1,000 blades of Aegon's enemies. A story we agreed to tell each other over and over till we forget that it's a lie.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back for another Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon update video. Well, my friends, it looks like this is about to be another very exciting day. After waiting for nearly 3 years, it's all finally starting to happen. Once again, HBO has released another House of the Dragon teaser video, and as always, everything looks absolutely incredible. We're now only about 1 month away from finally seeing Westeros on our screens again, and I know I'm not alone when I say I cannot wait. In the new video released by HBO, we hear some words from Miguel Sapochnik, who not only directed 3 episodes from House of the Dragon's first season, but he's also one of the showrunners as well. Some of you might remember him from his directing days on Game of Thrones. He's directed some of the greatest episodes like Hardhome, The Battle of the Bastards, and The Winds of Winter. We also hear from Ryan Condal, who is one of the co-creators of House of the Dragon alongside George R. R. Martin. He is also the other showrunner alongside Miguel Sapochnik as well. Now, during the new video, we hear Ryan say how much he was influenced by George R. R. Martin's writing. This is something I have went over before in some of my other videos. What I love about Ryan the most is the fact that he seems to be a student of A Song of Ice and Fire, whereas the old Game of Thrones writers David and Dan only seem like they were fans of George's writing.
I'm a super fan, and I found the books at this point over 20 years ago, and I loved them. I was a huge Tolkien fan. Lord of the Rings, just worshipped at the altar of it. The movies were coming out, and I had just reread them, and I was in this kind of fantasy mode, and I was like, what else is out there? And a friend had recommended, hey, if you love Tolkien, you should really check this out, because it's really the only thing since Tolkien that really got me up out of my seat fantasy-wise. I've liked other fantasies. I've enjoyed things. There's some great classic books out there, but nothing to me held a candle to Tolkien. But this did, and it was, of course, the first book, Game of Thrones. And I read it, and I fell all the way in. I was all in. I couldn't believe how good it was. I read all 3. There were 3 books at the time. Storm of Swords had just been published, and I just devoured them, and then went back and devoured them again, and it became my favorite thing. So and this happened at a time where I was learning to write myself. I was very interested in screenwriting. I'd written a couple of scripts. I was starting to try to make a career of this. I was in my early 20s, and cut to a number of years later, I've now broken in. I still love these books. I'm a huge fan of the television show. I'm watching it all. At some point I tried to get my agents to get me a staff writer job on the show, and they were like, they don't have staff writers. It's just the 2 of them write the whole show. So I respected him so much, and actually learned so much from him as a writer, because I credit, even though the books are prose books, George started as a dramatic writer, a screenwriter in television. So the books are written in this, Dave, you've read them. They're written in this incredibly cinematic way with hooks at the end of chapters. There's dialogue. I mean, you could very easily just put slug lines into those books and create scenes out of them. It's not a novelistic style of writing. So I learned a lot about character and storytelling and atmosphere and theme and all these, literary tools like foreshadowing and how to write prophecy, compelling prophecy that doesn't seem dinky or foregone conclusion. All these things that I still use today that I learned from those books. So it was just really exciting for me to be able to meet George, and then we hit it off, and then on down the road we go. 5, 6, 7 years later, it turned into a job offer, which it still blows my mind that I'm sitting here doing this show.
During an interview with Ryan and George, Ryan more or less said he has studied A Song of Ice and Fire, and in doing so, it helped him learn how to write stories of his own. When I heard that, it had me very excited for House of the Dragon, because it really does seem like they found the best man for the job. That is, if you ask me. Near the end of the video, we also hear George R. R. Martin say he wanted Ryan to write on the show because Ryan knew his A Song of Ice and Fire novels better than any of the other writers HBO originally wanted on the show.
We had done a round of development. If you go back, when it was clear that Game of Thrones was ending, that David and Dan wanted to end it after 7 seasons or something, HBO started looking to develop other shows. And the 2 that I pitched were Dance with a Dragon, which became House of the Dragon and the Dunk and Egg thing. But there were a number of other shows that were developed at that time, most of them put together by writers that HBO hired who had never read my books and who I guess had watched the show and they were doing. And when we were getting into this, I didn't want that anymore. Obviously, none of those shows ultimately got on the air. I thought, I want people, if they're going to be working in my world, I want them to actually have read my books. And I liked Ryan's work, and I knew he knew the world. He had read the books. So once again, in that bar at the Four Seasons,
Yes.
where it all started there.
As a fan of A Song of Ice and Fire, this makes me confident that House of the Dragon will be a faithful adaptation, as well as the fact that they have George R. R. Martin helping them along the way. Now, since George R. R. Martin says he's in good hands with Ryan and Miguel, I have no reason to believe otherwise. During the teaser video, we also see some new shots of the different sets from the first season. Some of you might not agree with me on this, but I think the new Iron Throne looks stunning. Even the Great Hall where the Iron Throne sits looks even larger and more grand than before. It honestly looks like each episode will have a $100 million budget. Almost everything about House of the Dragon seems larger than life. This first season will look so much better than Game of Thrones' first season in nearly every way. I just hope the story itself is nearly as good. Now, I know I'm biased when I say this, but I think House of the Dragon will blow the new Lord of the Rings series out of the water. I just can't help but be in shock while looking at these new sets. It really does feel like we are entering into a fantasy world while watching this show. That's one of the reasons why I love Game of Thrones so much, because it was so easy to immerse myself into the story, because everything felt so real. Not only are the sets incredible, but so is everyone's wardrobe. It looks like they're all wearing something straight out of a Louis Vuitton or Versace store. I mean, it actually looks like something you would see at a royal wedding, but then again, maybe that's just me. All I know is I'm very excited for the world of Westeros and A Song of Ice and Fire once again. Get ready for the next chapter in the Game of Thrones saga. House of the Dragon, my friends, is almost here. Make sure you subscribe now so you can stay up to date on any and all information regarding Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. Now that we're only about a month away, there will be many more videos heading your way. I'm only just getting started. As always, I want to thank everyone for stopping by and watching my video. I hope you will be here for my next one. Have a great day, everyone. I will see you soon. Bye.